On this segment, we are joined by John Crampsey from NAI Summit. And John, thank you for taking a minute to be with us. You know, we see a lot of signs for NAI Summit.
Well, that's a good sign in itself, Art.
Yes, it is. Maybe you could give us a little overview of NAI Summit and all that you do locally here in the community.
Well, I'll be glad to, Art. NAI Summit has been headquartered in the Lehigh Valley for the last 30 years. We have established a strong presence in the area. We do leasing, we do sales, we do property management, and we represent tenants. And as I said, after being here 30 years, we've established what I would like to think is a very solid reputation in the community.
We're standing in front of a very beautiful building, of which you guys are a part of many. 75,000 square foot building. Is there any interesting stories regarding this building?
Well, yes, I think there is, Art, and thank you for asking that question. As you said, it's a 75,000 square foot office building. It was returned to the mortgagee about a year ago. The mortgagee happens to be in Texas, and they needed someone to take care of the building, from management to leasing to ultimately selling it. So they gave the assignment to us. We were able to do some leasing, maintain the building, and ultimately sell it for what I think was a very good sale price. An investment group from out of the area who also felt it made sense to retain us to, again, do the management leasing of the building.
All your buildings are extraordinary. Is this a typical example of what you do?
Not really, because again, we do leasing separately, sales, property management, and I think it's important for people to know that no assignment is too large or too small for us, whether it be one aspect of what we do. And again, I think it's important. Some people think maybe NAI Summit is too large to handle certain properties, and that certainly isn't the case.
So who would be a good client for you, or someone who's watching this that may want to use your services?
Art, that goes right across the board. Someone who's looking to lease a building they have, sell a building, a company that might be looking to relocate because we know the market so well. Again, anything in commercial, industrial, real estate, and also importantly, that is all we do, commercial, industrial. We don't focus at all on residential.
We're now joined by Frank Smith, and Frank, thank you for taking a minute out of your busy schedule to be with us. You know, tell us a little about your organization here and what makes it tick.
Well, Art, we're an organization of about 50 professionals. We cover the gamut from property management to brokerage and third-party development.
So when people think in terms of NAI Summit, you know, and all that you do, what makes you different than all the others that are possibly out there?
Well, that's a good question, Art. One of the things that we believe differentiates ourselves is that we are a relationship-driven organization. We're less focused on the transaction and more on the relationship. This has boded well for us over the 30 years that we've been doing this. Our client base has advocated that, and it has worked very well for us.
Well, I know the name is well known, and people respect it, and you've done a great job with the branding and the imaging, you know. And is there anything you would add as people are watching this and learning more about NAI Summit as to how they would perceive everything that you do?
Well, one of the things that's important to us is we look at every customer at regardless of size, and one of the things we advocate is our professionalism. And with that, we're always striving to improve ourselves, but most importantly, we're working absolutely the best to give the service that's necessary for our clients.
We are now joined by Tim Van Sickle, and Tim, thank you for joining us, and tell us a little bit about who you are and what your title is.
My name is Tim Van Sickle. I'm a global CFO for FL Smith here in Bethlehem, PA.
Well, thank you for taking a moment out of your busy schedule. You know, we're talking about NAI Summit, and tell us a little bit about your relationship with them and maybe how that's been.
Our relationship goes back a few years with NAI Summit and John Crampsey. We've done several business transactions with NAI, been very successful business transactions with the group.
And when it comes to leasing, I know you've used them to lease out some space. How's that going?
It's going quite well. They brought some top-notch potentials for leasing our property here at FL Smith. And with all the other transactions we've done, they've really brought some very good clients to us to assist us in our business here.
So when it comes to working with them, have they made it easier, helpful? How's that going?
They've made it very easy. I mean, John's the kind of guy, and Summit is the kind of company that you almost feel you can do it with a handshake instead of a real official contract. I mean, as businesses, we always do work with contracts, but you just get the feeling that a handshake with a good person and a business will do with these folks.
We've been joined by Dennis Benner, and Dennis, thank you for taking a minute to be with us. I know you have a professional relationship with NAI Summit, on a couple of projects. How do you feel those projects went?
I'm very happy with the way they went. I actually came from a long residential background in terms of land development and that kind of thing. And about 15 years ago or so, I decided to change focus a little bit and get more into commercial real estate. I had known Summit for 30 years probably, and I knew their reputation for a long time. So when I decided to do that, I reached out to the folks at Summit, and they were very knowledgeable. I knew they were knowledgeable for many, many years, and a lot of clients of mine used them. And so I interviewed with them, and it turned out to be a very good experience. I think that what I would say about Summit is this. They're a world-class operation. They manage things very well. I never hear any complaints from anyone. I get called all the time just because I do commercial development and I'm a land use lawyer and on all those kinds of things. And so I get called all the time, people wanting to try to replace NAI Summit in terms of the management and all the good things that they do. Now, everybody says that they can do something for less money, and maybe they can. But at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. And if you want to get what you pay for, you hire Summit. If you want some other process, then go consider something else. It comes down to risk. Where's your risk tolerance? Mine is that, when you spend multiple $1 million for buildings, you want a world-class operation to manage them. I happen to choose Summit. I'm very happy with them.